Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and mortals of all ages. On behalf of Healing Spiel of J&J, my name is James Jacoby, and today I'll be doing a pay-per-view review of Impact Pro Wrestling's Victory Road 2022. So, with that being said, let's get on to it. Our first match, Mike Bailey versus Delirious for the X Division Championship. And boy, oh boy, I tell you one thing, Speedball Mike Bailey is showing us why he is the future of Impact Wrestling's X Division, because he completely is killing it. Ever since Slammiversary this year, winning it at the Ultimate X match, he's been facing everyone and anyone at any time from everywhere, and he's just sensational as X Division champion. Fearless, completely not backing down from everybody, and he's courageous, and he completely is showing us why the X Division is at its highest peak, like the days of the Asylum days from 2004 to like now. And I think it's better now because we're seeing more X Division wrestlers come in and challenge Bailey and showing us why they want to wrestle in Impact Wrestling for that title. And Bailey is completely making that prestigious. And Delirious, he wrestled a wrestling veteran for Ring of Honor ever since the inception of Ring of Honor. And I tell you one thing, Delirious gave his best, but Mike Bailey, again, Speedball Mike Bailey, show us why he has speed, no pun intended, in his wrestling, and also why he has very precise with his martial arts background in Taekwondo, and show us why that he really wants to represent the X Division at its best in a in a positive and a professional way. Mike Bailey is what X Division and Impact is all about. And with this match, it was high flying, strong style. It was completely back and forth. Delirious gave his best and showed us why he still can go in the ring, with any, talent, whether they're tall, short, young, old, whatever. And I tell you one, Delirious gave his best, but Mike Bailey got the win using Kenny Omega's One Winged Angel. And that's the reason why that little one nitpick I give is that One Winged Angel. Did he have permission from Kenny Omega to use it? Who knows? And if he did, good on you. But I was like, nah, it's Kenny Omega's finisher. I don't like stealing people's finishers. It's very, shocking and gives a what factor. But I'm like, nah, man, you gotta ask permission. You can't just do that. That's kind of a jab at the other wrestler doing that. But overall, scale of 1 through 5 stars, I give it a solid 4 because my pick was Mike Bailey. Didn't like how he used Kenny Omega's finisher, One Winged Angel, but I'm glad he got the win. I'm glad Delirious showed us that he still got it. Hats off to both you guys. Our next match is going to be uh, Mickey James versus Giselle Shaw. Actually, yeah, that match is truly a great storytelling match. Mickey James on her retirement tour after she announced it back in Dallas Impact Wrestling tapings, saying, she's not been herself ever since she lost the Impact title, and you know what, if she loses another match, she completely will retire. And it shows her that she had a great career, and she wants to show that she wants to end her career on her own terms. And I was like, nah, you can't do this. You're an Impact legend. You're Impact OG. And I was like, no, no, no. Don't do what Flair did. Don't have a farewell swan song tour. But I guess she's on the retirement tour and she's doing it her way. And Giselle Shaw's like, you know what? I'm gonna retire Mickey James. I'm like, oh no, don't do this, don't do this. And yeah, I guess she did. And I tell you one thing, from the get go, it was completely, gamesmanship. It showed us that who wanted to get better, and it was very competitive. I love that. Competitive, technical, strong style, and the high flying lucha, and complete told a story of, is she gonna retire, or is she gonna completely keep going? And Giselle Shaw completely was that great test. Mickey James needed to give her that extra push, saying, "Come on, I want to see the best Mickey James." That completely ignited the fire in that women's wrestling, and she was part of that. And that's what I saw from Giselle Shaw, bring the best Mickey James out of her, and that's what you know that challenge that Mickey James needed to show that she still got it, that she can still wrestle. In my opinion, that's why I saw great storytelling. Retirement, or is it changing of the guard for Giselle Shaw to take Mickey James and retire her? And that's what I saw, and I saw great wrestling, great storytelling, and completely a thrill joyride of like if Mickey James will retire or will she completely keep going? And tonight she won on a scale of 1 through 5, a 5-star match because it told great stories in this match. It showed great wrestling. It showed why Mickey James still has a lot left in her tank. And Giselle Shaw, her future is so freaking bright. She came from Rev Pro, Progress, and all the rest of UK wrestling promotions. She still is, the future of women's wrestling, not just Impact, but in wrestling in general. So hats off to both ladies. 5-star match in that one. Our next match is the Motor City Machine Guns versus PCO and Vincent. I'll be right off the bat. This match made me nervous because PCO, every time I see him wrestle, and these past few matches against Jonah, against Doc Gallows, against Heath Miller this past Thursday on Impact, doing those death matches, especially in his Ring of Honor days, doing those death matches, and also in GCW doing those death matches. I'm surprised PCO still moving, still has his whole body still in one piece, because after all of the dangerous deathmatch wrestling he's doing, it's just, dang it, man. I mean, I love all styles of wrestling, deathmatch wrestling I love as well, but he keeps doing over and over and over and over again. I'm like, how do you still have your body still in place? You know what I mean? And after that scary bump he did to the middle ropes, I'm like, I know I've seen him done it before in Ring of Honor, especially during the pandemic when the empty arenas in those Ring of Honor tapings. But I'm like, PCL, man, I'm just scared that one more bump of that you got used to doing, it can, all those bumps and bruises will come back, uh, will come, all come back to you, man. I'm like, hopefully it doesn't, because I love seeing PCO wrestle. I'm just, because that bump made me scared. I'm like, PCO, don't die on me now, man. Don't get paralyzed. Don't lose a body. Don't break a bone out there, because we still need you. Impact loves having you. All the wrestling world loves you. So please keep going. But that's a different side tangent. Um, that's the only thing I saw of that match, because he kept doing more high fly, death defying, deathmatch lucha, spots. I'm like, oh my gosh, PCO, please don't. My heart was racing. I'm like, PCO, please be careful out there, man. And Motor City Machine Gun's just a well-oiled machine, completely fluid as water out there, and they completely showed us why they're OG tag team in Impact history, and in the company forever in 20 years of the inception of Impact Wrestling. So hats off to both teams right there. But Motor City Machine Guns won, so 3.5, because PCO, I was like, oh my gosh, man, I'm just cringing because I like every spot he does. I'm like, my heart's racing, man. Hopefully he's okay. And Vincent Marseille, well, didn't see too much out of him because he was getting his butt kicked most of the time. But he's still a good wrestler, though, man. But PCO, that's the reason why I gave this match 3.5, because all the one bad bump, one bad move, and there goes his career like that. So, but Motor City Machine Guns, on the positive side, gave me the win, gave me great wrestling, and completely show us why that age is just a number, and they can still show that the world that they are still a great tag team. But again, 3.5, because PCO, all those bumps he's doing, I'm like, oh my gosh, how is he still alive, man? Especially the match against Jonah earlier this year. Jeez. And then after getting chokeslammed by Doc Gallows and destroying the ring canvas. Good gosh. But yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5. Our next match is the triple threat Revolver. So it was a triple threat gauntlet match, and it was just insane because we saw a bunch of great wrestlers in that match. It was just on a scale of 1 through 10, a scale of 1 through 5. It was a fun match. It was just uh, a scale of 1 through 5. Sorry about that. Is as a straight out 5 match right there, because you had Alex Zane, Yui Imura, Kenny King, Trey Miguel, and also Laredo Kid, Mia Yim, and then of course Frank Kazarian. And it came down after the dust settled. You had 3 guys left: Trey Miguel, Kenny King, and also Frank Kazarian. And again, I had to give this match honestly a 4.5. The reason why I get a 4.5, because my pick was wrong. My picks were actually Trey Miguel, Kenny King, and also Yui Imura. But can't always win everything. But I was surprised because this one was completely, you know, caught me out of shock. Frank Kazarian from AEW, currently an AEW wrestler, completely taking the challenge of the empty spot. Who's going to show up for Victory Road for that triple threat Revolver match? Um, he showed up, said, I want a shot, because we don't know where he's been lately, doing the indies or doing AEW Dark or Dark Elevation, one of those top three. And he just said, you know what? I'll take that chance. I want to wrestle Mike Bailey if I win at Bound for Glory. That's what he did. And overall, what a fun match. What a fun ride that these great wrestlers showed us. And wow, hats off to all these great wrestlers. Mia Yim, hats off to you, because that was a great match you gave us. Um, Overall, I was just incredibly shocked, because Frank Kazarian, won by a chicken wing crossface, and sensational. Chicken wing crossface submission hold, sensational. And now we have Mike Bailey, Frank Kazarian at Bound for Glory. That's just a recipe for success right there. A great meal for us at Bound for Glory. So a scale 1 through 5, solid 4.5. Only one thing I got a problem is that my picks are wrong. I was like, gosh dang it, but it was a good, surprise. I love surprises. And our next match is going to be before I get into that 6-man tag team match, I like to say it was a surprise for 2 reasons. We got 2 announcements. And sorry for looking at distance. I had to look at the card to make sure I got everything right. And 2 announcements happened. One thing is Bobby Fish out of nowhere released AEW wrestler, released WWE NXT wrestler completely, and had one half of Red Dragons completely showed up at Impact out of the blue. I'm like, what is he doing here? Long story short, he comes to Impact, gets the mic in the middle of the ring, just basically saying he's been in business 20 years, and he's done with the politics, the BS. He just wants to wrestle. He just wants to wrestle, and he's been keeping an eye on Impact, and he's been showing us that, and he tells us that the Impact locker room has just killing it. Has been killing it with the great wrestling, and it's been killing it with the great matches, the great pay-per-views. Overall, the product in his eyes has been a banger. So I'm like, wow, I agree with you 100%, Bobby. And he's saying that, you know what? I can say what I want, because I'm done with the fake funk that the freaking media scrum is making. I'm not gonna deal with any backstage politics, any heat. And if there's heat on me, I don't give a freaking crap. And I just want to wrestle. I want to fight. That's what Bobby Fish said. And I'm like, dang. Well said. Basically, I think he took a shot at CM Punk and all the media scrum that happened at All Out after the Moxley Punk match at AEW All Out. And I'm like, hey, Punk did it to himself. That's all I gotta say. But I still love CM Punk as a wrestler. Respect him no matter what. And but Bobby Fish, I agree with you 100%, man. Yeah, you're just completely one fight and just focus on wrestling. That's why we're all here, to watch pro wrestling at its finest. So Bobby Fish, yeah, I agree with you. And then during that promo, we saw Mahabali Sheer and also his partner Singh completely go out there and give Bobby Fish that piece of their mind, saying, "Stop talking this trash, Bobby." Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh boy, he's gonna get a lesson from Bobby Fish of why you don't mess with Bobby Fish. And he gave a submission, sleeping with the fishes. I'm like, oh boy. That's the mission hold, and you hear Singh tap out, and Mahabali Shir completely pulled him out of the ring, saying, "We'll see you." Well, he didn't probably say "see you," but we gave us an angle towards a match at the Impact Zone this coming Thursday on Impact Wrestling, so we could see Bobby Fish versus Mahabali Shir. Who knows? Our second announcement, I have to say, is during the pay-per-view. While it's going after that, we saw Impact Hall of Famer going to get inducted, and that is basically Raven. Raven is now going to the Hall of Fame. I wish him all the best, and he deserves it because he did an impact in Impact Pro Wrestling, no pun intended. And Raven, thank you so much for what you've done for Impact Pro Wrestling and wrestling in general, and the ECW days and the other promotions you've done. You deserve it, man. Thank you so much for marking your territory in Impact Pro Wrestling. So October 7th, we're gonna see you in the Hall of Fame, man. Well deserved. Now, this one, our next match, as we continue with the pay-per-view, is Honor No More's Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett, OGK, versus Alexander Rich Swann and Heath Miller. This match was going great. We see back and forth between two teams, I say. And I tell you one thing, I was really shocked because again, I love all wrestling, and the thing is, there's two pet peeves that I don't like. It's just basically cheating and having you know non wrestlers take the spot of wrestlers who deserve to be in there and who want to be there rather than the money. And also, like I said, cheating and completely devaluing the wrestler. Those are the top three things I hate. Uh, that's what I saw in this match because again, Maria Kanellis was the main reason why OGK won, and they completely cheated. And I'm like, oh boy. With that being said, I had to give this match a 3.5 because I didn't like cheating. I'm against cheating because again, Josh Alexander defending, world heavyweight champion of Impact Wrestling. I have to say he's my, top three wrestler of the year because he's been killing it ever since Rebellion. Having that feud from 2021 after Bound for Glory 2021, beating Christian Cage for that Impact World title, and going to the trial and tribulations of winning it finally at Rebellion early this year in April. He completely showed us that he can carry the company on his back and show us that Impact Pro Wrestling is a legit, syndicated promotion that you should be watching. And that's what Josh Alexander brings because he's a world champion, world class athlete, and he can give you a 5-star match whenever you put him on TV. Everywhere he goes, and that's just who he is. A decorated world champion, tag team champion. He's done it all, and I think he's the Canadian version of Kurt Angle. So with that being said, OGK, my pick was Alexander Swan and Heath Miller. But of course, you know, looking at Honor No More 1, and they beat Alexander Swan and Miller due to the interference when the referee was distracted with Maria and completely distracting their opponents, and that's how they got the win with Maria helping Maria. I'm like, oh boy. Mm-mm-mm. And then out of nowhere, when they got distracted, hitting Eddie Edwards with a Tiger Driver 98 and the Pile Driver. I'm like, oh jeez. Could this be a sign that Eddie Edwards and Josh Alexander is going to be this intense that we get a small preview? And that's what I got, a small preview of Bound for Glory. And did we see that Eddie Edwards could be the next world champion after getting this tag team win for Honor No More? We shall see. So a good match, but didn't like the how it ended with the interference of Maria cheating to help OGK to get the win. So I'm like, we don't do cheating in here. This is all about wrestling. You beat them at their highest best, win, lose, or draw, clean finish, pinfall, submission, or knockout. That's what we do in pro wrestling. Keep it, keep it, clean and legit. That's what we do in pro wrestling. So this match at 3.5 because the interference by Maria helping OGK win it. So yeah. Our next match, sorry for the small pause, is going to be the Knockouts World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Jordan Grace, Max the Impaler. Very, very good, sensational match. Jordan Grace is the face of Impact Wrestling's Knockout division, and she shows us why. Because again, I think I see the female version of Scott Steiner and Bobby Lashley together. What do you get? You get freaking Jordan Grace right here, and Jordan Grace completely showed us why she's a world champion for Impact. She gave us her best effort, and that's what I saw from her. And Maxine Pillar is no joke. She's menacing, and she's completely a force to be reckoned with. Gave her everything. I can see why Masa Slamovich chose her to be the pick your poison against Jordan Grace. Again, this is sensational to watch. Threw everything at her. Jordan Grace showed the heart and will and spirit of why a champion like her deserves to carry the women's division. She's killing it. And at the end, you know, as I see it, the old cliche, good triumphs over evil, and that's what I saw for Jordan Grace. Sensational match. One of my third 5-star matches because, again, it showed us why Jordan Grace is the world champion. Even she said at the end, that was hard. That was a hard match, and she thought she was gonna get beat, but she completely proved to herself and to the whole world why she's Knockouts world champion. Jordan Grace, hats off to you, Maxine Paler. Nice try, respect, but Jordan Grace won it. And then we get a little teaser. She's like, pick your poison. Masalovic. I know you why you chose her, but now it's my turn. This coming Thursday in Impact, you're gonna face Alley Catch for a Monsters Ball. I'm like, oh boy, wow, wow, wow. This can be a wild Impact, fellas. Be ready for this Thursday night Impact. I am ready. And then finally, we have our main event, and that is the barbed wire match. Sammy Callahan, Moose, and Steve Macklin. My gosh, man, I love me some hardcore. I love all styles of pro wrestling, and that's hardcore pro wrestling. This match is just, oh my gosh, OMG! Those three-letter words scream out of this match. Besides the, what I talked about earlier, PCO doing high spots, deathmatch wrestling, aerial lucha. And here they just completely deathmatch wrestling in like a monstrous ball match. Barbed wire everywhere, barbed wire doors, barbed wire rings, barbed wire baseball bat, chairs, everything barbed wire. I'm like, Sammy Callahan, this is your neighborhood right here, man. Barbed wire everything. You know, this is insanity. Moose going through table doors, Macklin busted open, Callahan busted open, and I tell you one thing, I think Moose needs to see a chiropractor after getting a frog splash from Macklin, and Macklin doing the frog splash on Moose while Moose is on the table covered in barbed wire. Goodness gracious, what a freaking match! This match, scale 1 through 4, is I get a solid 4 because honestly, Callahan and Moose was my pick, and Steve Macklin proved me wrong. Got the W completely. Is a true trooper. After what he went through. Barbed wire, went through tables, completely putting his body in the line, took Moose out and completely, found a way to get the W. DDT Sammy Callahan on a barbed wire door. Freaking crap, man. I don't know, man. That was insane, and I love that. But 4 out of 5 stars because that was not my pick. The high spots, the dangerous, matches they did, it was just insane. And I'm like, yo, man, hats off to these 3 wrestlers for giving us a banger main event. It's insane. Whew. Overall, on the scale of 1 through 10, I had to give this a solid 7.5 because 2 things that really disappointed me in this pay per view was how OGK won it with the help of Maria Kanellis, distracting the referee and cheating to win against Alexander Swan and Heath Miller. And I was really disappointed in that, how they won it. But of course, that's how the cookie crumbles. What can you do? And also, I was really nervous with PCO. Hopefully, didn't die out there because I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So 7.5, and of course, my picks being wrong, but those are the only two things I see bad. But the good things, my favorite, I got I think 3 or 4, 5 matches of the card I like, which is Mickey James versus Giselle Shaw, Jordan Grace versus Max the Impaler. Then I got the triple threat revolver match, and then I also got Speedball Mike Bailey versus Delirious. Those 4 matches were fun to watch. Hats off to all these great wrestlers, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. That was a great 7.5 out of a 10 match. With that being said, that's the review right here. I also do like to give a shout out to Zane McBoss, my friend at TCC who does Twitch. He does Dead by Daylight streaming on Twitch. Please follow him. His name is Zane McBoss. And then also follow Bust Open Podcast on SiriusXM channel 156. They talk about pro wrestling from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday through Saturday. It's going to be consist of Dave LaGreca, Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray, Mickey James, Thunder Rosa, Mark Henry, Ryan McKennell, and a bunch of great wrestlers we love to see from WWE to D&D's, AEW, on there as guests as Bust Open Podcast. So please give a listen to them. And also, finally, subscribe to our channel on the YouTube channel of Healing Spiel with J&J. It's Justin, Nolan, and me. We talk about pro wrestling, review pro wrestling. We also give reviews of our favorite pay-per-views from the past, like I'm doing for Impact Pro Wrestling and the Indies and NWA. List goes on and on. We all do retro reviews of classic WWE NXT Black and Gold brand takeovers, and also WWE recent pay per views. We're about to do one for Extreme Rules, and also I'm going to do one for Bound for Glory this year, and also Retro Bound for Glory pay per views. So be ready for that. With that being said, peace, love, and love that pro wrestling, and pro wrestling is fun for everyone. With that being said, thank you and have a great weekend and enjoy thy pro wrestling.